Just woke up about maybe 20 minutes ago. Let me get started. After I do this little thing I usually do, where at the beginning I'll go look for the details and whatnot. So, one of the narratives that people have been spinning since the virus saga started is that, oh my God, everyone is so worried, and that's why they bought all this damn water and toilet paper and this. Um, I have a little bit of proof as to why it's not actually so. I think it is serious, but people clearly do not actually care that much. Um, I'm going to start with an anecdotal story. So there is a adult woman I know who is rapidly approaching her mid 40s, and when you are that age and you have had cell phones and computers for years, that means you are capable of using those devices to learn more about this crisis. Now, this person was very curious about the stimulus bill, the relief package that Congress passed, or at least she claimed to be. I sent her a 20-minute video which basically broke down uh, everything that was in the bill and also talked about how it was pretty much a scam because they're giving you 12,000, and that's after 3 months you have to pay all the rent back. But this person refused to watch the video. They've actually gone on record and said they won't watch any videos that are longer than maybe 4 or 5 minutes. And I just thought to myself, because at one point this person had actually pushed back against what I was saying about the bill because I was repeating what I had read about it. Um, and I was like, really? You claim to care so damn much about what's in this bill, but you can't watch one video about it where someone goes through piece by piece breaking down what's in it. Oh, 20 minutes. People don't have the attention span for that. They need it in seconds. Apparently, you remember that was the point of the abridged series for most of those like long cartoons. She needs a virus package bill abridged breakdown. It's just God. I'm surrounded by buffoons, man. And like I said, it wouldn't bother me if it were not for the fact that she wants you to believe she's so concerned uh, about how this, what's in this thing, and if I don't get the relief I need, this is going to be so bad. But if you're so concerned, why don't you just watch a video explaining it? And look, the thing is, the reason the video stuff is as frustrating as it is because when you reject watching a video, and I know you're someone that doesn't like to read, you kind of are swiftly and rapidly deleting any ways for yourself to be informed about this because you don't want to read a goddamn article, sit down and go through something. So when someone reads it for you and then you still do this, I mean, what other alternative is there? She needs a post-it note sized update LOL. She needs a text virus bad, gov not give money, hoard food. Apparently, mm, now Montgomery, you should see how many people that you send them a news article, they won't read it. Then you send them a video and they still won't watch it. It's like you just can't win with these bastards. Okay, there is this former Lizard Warren supporter named David Dayen who is suddenly now a huge Bernie critic because he voted yes for the bailout bill. Well, didn't she vote yes as well? I don't really understand. Like, hasn't her record always been subpar compared to his or like beneath his? Like, there's never been a vote where she was on the right side that he wasn't. Probably the Green Party nominee, so Howie Hawkins. Yeah, all throughout this week. Are you gonna vote for Biden? I don't vote for scum. I'm not voting for anyone who has sexual assault allegations levied against them. especially when they can't even remember what goddamn state he's in. A lot of former or can't remember that his wife isn't his sister, or merges three stories into one, or tried to cut Social Security. Man, forget no Biden, not at all, or Trump. You guys can have them. A lot of former Warren, Yang, and Galbraith supporters have suddenly become vocal Bernie critics because he caves to Democrats too much. Well, isn't Yang the same candidate that said he would endorse whoever uh, supported UBI, and then Tulsi adopted UBI into her platform, and he completely ignored her? I get through this same dilemma all the time. People refuse to read it because it disputes the current paradigm. Well, it's because they're lazy. Think about it. If you care so much about how you're affected by this bill, but then you can't read what six paragraphs describing it when you are, remember, all of these people are at home all day long. Like, there's no excuse. There just isn't. It's not. Remember that we're not in the era of I work 9 to 5. No. So they're just sitting at home, choosing to not become informed because they're lazy. Mm. Conveniently, after Warren dropped out, he's now super progressive. Yeah, he transformed. Oh my God. Alfonso says lesser evil. What do you mean? Are you saying Biden is the lesser evil compared to Trump, or that Trump is the lesser evil? Because again, I have to actually like the candidate themselves. They don't get to coast off of how horrible the other person is, especially when they themselves don't exactly have a record to be proud of. Yeah. Let me go over to the other couple of stories that came out. So within the past week, matter of fact, I'll pull it up right now because I didn't want to prop this up until now. Everybody knows that we don't have a national stay-at-home order for no reason. It's really stupid we don't have that because, see, there's going to be this dumb narrative that people are accusing Trump of not of exacerbating something he couldn't have prevented, and only two things he could have done that wouldn't have made the situation worse would be to have issued the national stay-at-home order, and to have not pretended that the virus was, um, something that wasn't a big deal, because he had downplayed it when it first started. Okay, Rubin says Radigan is another former establishment Democrat who is now suddenly critical of Bernie for not being progressive enough. So I said these people are just turncoats, and they flip and change their stripes every couple of days. They're not serious. I wouldn't even pay any attention to what that man says. See where this thing is. Okay, so about 2 weeks ago, there was a news report where they were talking about how there were at least 9 states that still didn't have stay-at-home orders, which means that people were going around giving the disease like crazy. And it really pisses me off because you're going to have Trump go on TV and say, "Oh, the virus's numbers are going down. The stay-at-home orders are working," but it's not going to stop if you still have all the, admittedly not a majority, but a solid minority who are basically letting people go unfettered with this damn disease. And that's exactly what happened in South Carolina. The governor over there, his name is McMaster. He was I have a funny story about him. He was the lieutenant governor under Haley, who became Trump's UN ambassador. And the reason she was picked for UN ambassador is because McMaster was one of the first statewide officials to actually seriously back Trump. So that was a way of giving him what's a good word for it? A payback, because when she resigned to become UN ambassador, he got to run as an incumbent governor in the gubernatorial election. So that's just something I'd like to mention because it shows what these people will do for each other. But yeah, he just issued this executive order on Monday, and when he did that, South Carolina was one of 9 states that didn't have the virus. that, or rather, that had the virus, because everywhere has the virus, but that was not doing anything actively about it. Just complete buffoonery. And at the time, they had 2,000 confirmed cases. All right, apparently McConnell is also hated by Trump worshippers for being too establishment, despite McConnell always supporting Trump. Angry at China. Why would I be angry at them? They're smart. They're not like the U.S. They haven't had a war in 40 years. They actually use their resources to advance themselves and their allies. They don't waste time in banana war conflicts for several decades. But yeah, this all these other states were closing down. South Carolina goes, let's keep having people catch the disease. And again, to be fair, um, there's another article I read where they talked about how both Democrats and Republicans were trying to get the governor to do the stay-at-home order. So it again falls on two people: the governor for not issuing the state order, and Trump for not issuing a national one. But that's why I said that I think this will end up being his Hurricane Katrina, because everybody knows he himself could not have realistically, stopped the prevention of the disease. But the two places he made fatal errors in were, first, not taking it seriously when you start, oh, well, people will just get over it, and the second one was not issuing a national stay at home order. So those are going to be the two things that people have to remember, instead of him going, "I was so innocent because it's a disease that just goes around. There's nothing we could have done. We could have done something. You just know, he just chose not to." Creepy Biden just won Alaska. I know he did. He didn't even win it by that. Well, I guess 10 points is a lot, but considering you're running against someone that's out of the race now, you should have won it by more. Yeah, he's going to sweep the rest of the primary, but it's not going to matter because when they start playing those clips of, what was it, him trying to say the national anthem, or the Declaration of Independence and screwing up, you'll see how much people want to vote for him after. And if they do vote for him, it will be entirely because of Trump derangement syndrome. Because there's nothing appealing about that man at all. I never thought I'd see the day where people would willfully vote for a guy whose brain doesn't even work. That's why I said Democrats are like, I'm so done with them. Like the voters, the pundits, the politicians, just throw them to the wayside. Because remember, it's not it's admittedly the voters who are, supporting this man, but it's also the senators and representatives that are all doing the, yeah, yeah, vote for Biden. I'm endorsed him today. I was like, go to hell. It's like, what's her name? Carol Mosley Braun. That was the first female black senator, which is, it's only been her and Harris, so she's one of two. And she was bragging about, stopping Helms, this supposed racist senator, from getting the Confederate flag onto something. And I'm just thinking to myself, you'll brag about that. You'll make it seem like this was some big accomplishment you did, in reference to not liking the devaluing of your race, but then you'll endorse a guy who put a bunch of black people in jail, and no one thinks that's weird. But you know why? Because no one actually knows her record. No one knows that clip. No one even knows who that lady is, other than me and a couple of other people. So that's why that's the way it is. Told you, this has really just been like a weird last 2 weeks. Not even just the endorsements, but just how people have been responding to things. Like, to actively see people telling me I can't criticize John Lewis because of what he did 50 years ago is pretty crazy. It's like, if you guys had this much respect for civil rights leaders, you would know more about them than the same 4 or 5 people. I bet you I will literally bet you my right finger that the next time you see a bunch of these supposed uh, appreciators of the civil rights movement on the left talking about it, they're going to mention the same couple of people: MLK, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks. You're never going to hear about Ralph Abernathy. You're never going to hear about any other figures, even though they're so well informed. They don't even talk about Andrew Young anymore, and he's alive. Jesus Christ, are you angry? Okay, I read that already. So we didn't have any new comments posted. This is the musical chair stream era where people just come in and jump out. You go from 9 to 7 to 5 to 2 to what the hell? I can't wait for somebody to find a way to blame the YouTube algorithm for that. The algorithm is making people come to streams and jump out of them. No, it's you being wishy-washy. I mean, give me a break. No, so every time they do the civil rights discussions, it's just a Martin Luther King suck off fest. I mean, I've never seen where people just take one person out of some group and just act like they were Jesus Christ and then treat everybody else like trash, like completely ignore them. Like Abernathy gets ignored like crazy. He was MLK's top guy, and you don't ever see any references made to him other than by conservatives when they want to use his book to, I guess, discredit King. It's like, really? That's the full extent of his remembrance, even though he was there with him the entire time. Actually had a longer career. He doesn't get 30 books written about the same 10-year period over and over. Who would Biden pick for VP for you to even consider voting for him? Sanders, who we know he's not going to pick. Turner, who we know he's not going to pick. Roe, who we know he's not going to pick. Because he's doing it, and it sucks because, like I said, Roe is probably, I can't think of a congressman who's done more, or just member of the House in like a shorter amount of time. But Biden already said, VP pick must have vagina. So we know we're not going to get any man. Most are surviving civil rights icons became establishment Democrats anyway, like, for example, John Lewis. Yeah. Well, Abernathy caught hell for endorsing Reagan in his, I think that was the initial presidential campaign he had in 1980. And his whole thing was, I wanted to influence both parties. Why do we have to be Democrats all the time? Gabbard fans really hate Kana. That's why I told you that it's just weird. It's like you guys support a woman who will sit here and brag and preach to you about the need to end foreign conflicts and regime change wars, and then she goes around and endorses a guy who, while he was vice president, the U.S. went from 2 to 7. Hey, get out of here. But these are the people who have a leg to stand on, who can pick and choose who's progressive. Really? Told you, live in the twilight zone. And just in case people like to pretend they don't know what I'm talking about, when Obama entered office, we were in Iraq and Afghanistan. When he was in office, we left Iraq in 2011. We came back a couple of years later, and now we're still there, and people think we're not actually there. But it was Iraq and Afghanistan. Then it was, I don't know the exact chronological order. It's been a while, but he added on Syria, Yemen, Pakistan, Somalia, and some other country that's name I'm forgetting at the moment. Oh, Libya. There we go. Yeah, Libya was where him and Hillary went to town. So yeah, I still think Yemen was the worst because the worst humanitarian crisis the U.S. played a role in shaping, and like no one cares. Yeah, I'm so disgusted by Americans, man, and what they choose to be ignorant of. It's like, look, if you want to ignore foreign policy, I kind of at least get that a little bit because it doesn't directly affect you usually, even though they do take your money and waste it in those conflicts. Uh, but when you're talking about a bill that is supposed to be giving you relief and you're so concerned to where you're not going to read anything about it, and the only research you're going to do is ask a bunch of people stupid questions that you could figure out for yourself, go to hell. Because if you were so concerned, you would actually read an article. Why does the USA love war so much? Because of the defense contractors. Is there a way to deal with dictators without military intervention? Um, well, you can support the what's a good example? So when the Houthi rebels overthrew the Saudi Arabia government, um, a lot of people will say, "What was the U.S. supposed to do? Saudi Arabia is one of their allies." But if they actually supported people living there making the decisions of who would be in power, they could give financial aid to the rebels. That was like the point of just it's an intervention without actually sending any people over to die. You're just giving aid to that group, financial incentive to assist them with whatever they're trying to do because you're leaving it up to them. They can use it to have a ongoing, never-ending war to actually oust the person through democracy. So, Gabbard fans are now vocally anti-Bernie for doing several of the same things that she does. Like, for example, the bailout. Gabbard voted yes as well. So I told you I don't waste my time with a lot of these people's supporters because they just you know they don't like to say anything that makes any type of sense. They so over there pretending that their candidate is so high and mighty, and then you look at their record and you say, "What the hell?" I told you progressives are the most cutthroat people in the world because, like, I've seen everyone do this little thing of all the progressives except AOC are bad, or I can't vote for Roe anymore after what he did with the BDS bill, even though Tulsi did the exact same thing. But I'm gonna stick my support behind her because she's been running for president. They all have different standards for people, is what I'm saying. Let's see. Defense contractors control the three branches. Yeah, that too. They give them a lot of money for these conflicts. I remember Trump had it was a some $100 billion deal with Saudi Arabia. But it's like I can't even get excited about, oh, if we remove him, we might leave that particular conflict. Because Biden literally was VP during all of those. Told you, the voters don't care. They sit there with their little orange man bad thing, but they're not actually trying to change anything. They're content with the U.S. being the way it is, with $1 trillion student loan debt and 78% not being able to afford $1,000 emergency. Actually, no, 78% living paycheck to paycheck, and over 60% not being able to afford $1,000 emergency. Got those mixed up. And it just doesn't matter to them as long as they don't feel impacted by something. They'll act like it doesn't exist. So much apathy for so little reason. Like it's been pretty funny to watch someone who actively ignores watching the news scramble to try to get information about this and be so damn lazy that she won't just watch the news. Like all you have to do is just watch the news that's to learn about the bill. All you have to do is just turn on the damn TV. You know what? Okay, maybe to be fair, when you turn the TV on, they're talking about some other crap. Just go and watch a YouTube video. Go look up a news article. It's not hard at all. I do it. That's why I said people just don't care. They claim this with their mouths, but they're really doing this with their just actions. Whatever. They don't care. Hey Ruben, I better not see you criticizing John Lewis, or else I'm gonna know you didn't care about what he did for the civil rights movement. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Where you try to shame someone into being so appreciative for what you did several decades ago, to where now everything you do we have to kiss your behind and pretend it wasn't stupid. Screw that. I'm so sick of a lot of people, and it was people online doing that. Admittedly, But that's why I said the voters are the problem because they write this weird crap. Like, even for as bad as the Democrats were just in Congress for endorsing Biden and getting all around him and stuff, you didn't actually see any of them going, if you criticize Clyburn or whoever the hell, you're racist because they're not stupid enough to play that game. The voters are though. They were going around playing it in tandem. You had somebody on that Ron Placone tweet I showed yesterday, going, "Oh, you're showing your white privilege by not voting." I'm like, "Dingbat, listen, I didn't write this back to him. I was looking at myself. How the hell is anyone going to be benefited by supporting a man who literally has had most of the policies that were implemented when he was VP retained under like they don't even think, they just write stupid crap. Oh my god, buffoons. Like I said, if they get smashed in November, they brought it on themselves because they chose to make this election a couple of gropers. So when their molester doesn't win, we'll see what happens. Yeah, it makes sense. Reminds me of the argument that we could cure cancer, but we don't. So much money and death. Yeah, they claim stuff, and then you actually look at what they're doing, and it doesn't go along with that. Like you had Biden come out and say, "I want to cure cancer." Okay, well, how do you intend to do that? I don't even like Don Jr., but didn't he say that he would have done it already? Biden, if he actually could have, and that's what I hate about these people. They act like they don't have any type of power. Like for as crappy as that relief package bill was, the point that Jimmy was making along with other progressives was that it took one person or a couple of people to show the slightest ounce of courage for their name not to be dragged through the mud when that piece of garbage bill starts getting circulated around. $1,200 after 3 months, just so you have to pay everything back. That's why I said people don't care. So when people start getting kicked out of their houses, similarly to the 2008 recession, maybe then they'll start giving the damn. That's the scary part. A lot of people who lived through that still have this like weird non-concern. Yeah, I'm starting to get up there too because it's like they voted for this. But that's why Jimmy was saying, what's the point of having progressive Democrats if they're going to vote the same way as the. But that was the point I made about the Democrats before, where I could find all these bills that I thought were horrible, and then you have like 30 or 20 Democrats that voted for it, and I was like, well, what the hell is the point of them if they vote the same way as Republicans? That's why I was saying that there was no difference. Yeah, free money. Remember when Massey said it's the trap in it's the cheese in the trap. You go in there to grab the 1,200. Next year with the inflation. We already are paying for it. Like they're gonna give you that itty bitty amount of cash, and then you're gonna have to spend, what do you call it? Whatever your rent is times three from not paying it for 3 months. The Democrats are promoting amazing Desmond creepiness, yet at the same time have Clyburn and his Bayo Mafia on their side. Man, listen, Clyburn is just another person in the party that has done nothing. His only legacy will be, I guess, being the only Democratic representative from South Carolina for, what was it, 20 years. He's nothing, man. He's just literally. If I went down to his state and asked the people, what has he done? Oh, he's been a Democratic leader in the House. Okay, and what has that accomplished? Obamacare, even though that wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It's not. It's nothing. He's just a waste. This might have been the most important year of his life, but that damn endorsement. You know, I still think that thing got people considered bigger than it actually is because prior to him endorsing Biden, he was polling over there in first place anyway. You know, that's why I said people have been playing a lot of little narratives, but they don't actually take the time to consider if any of that is true. Like just in terms of polling, if it means anything or not. So they're going to keep on saying Clyburn is the one that put Biden over the top. Clyburn's the one that put Biden over the top. Clyburn's don't. No, he didn't. He was already on top. Biden scares me more than Trump. He seems unhinged. He is. Slum Digger, go look up a compilation. You know what? I'm not even gonna do that. I'm gonna put it right in your lap. Hmm. Hmm. Here. Yeah, I got this stupid ad I have to wait through. Anyways, in this video, they have a compilation of all the times Biden, well, not all the times, but of very significant times where he didn't even know what the hell was going on. And this is actually before Super Tuesday, so it's even more disturbing because that video pretty much was like an early warning sign of how ridiculous he was. So there you go, Slumdigger. You can watch Biden's greatest hits. At this point, I couldn't care less about political affairs. I don't care to. I just want to make music, garner more skills, and travel the country. Good luck traveling when we have a quarantine. Biden seems like he would actually launch a nuke while trying to call for room service for his. Or that's my point. Like all these people kept talking about Trump is so unstable. Trump is so unstable. I don't trust him with the nuclear codes. Look at who you guys picked. Like just since Wednesday, it's been one thing. Just me remembering all the little stuff they've said, uh, and then like how it all relates back to Biden. Like it all the same criticisms mean the same thing for him. Let's see. A lot of people cheering for their 1,200, 1,200, and were cheering for Rand Paul getting SARS and are now suddenly raging at Bernie for the bailout. Yeah, I don't know what the hell they're cheering for. How horrible do you have to be at math to figure out that if they're gonna let you not pay your rent for 3 months and then only give you these crumbs, like just what the hell is wrong with people? So I said maybe we do need to just start having millions of people on the streets again because they don't pay any attention to this and they don't think. They just hear something and go, "Ooh, I'm so excited." No logical deduction, no investigative skills on their own. Like just what in the world, man? The voters are. I'm done with them. I'm done with just people in general. These state, just like you had Obama come out a few days ago. I can't believe Wisconsin would let people vote during a quarantine. Notice he had nothing to say when the DNC chair, along with Biden and admittedly Sanders as well, encouraged people to vote in Illinois and two other states during a quarantine. But that again, this is my point that they don't care. They just sit there and try to gas you up. I think the United States populace needs a wake up call, not where that would come. Um, yeah, I don't really know what else it takes because you got all this student loan debt, a number I can actually give you the 1 trillion. Most of them live paycheck to paycheck, and they still vote for these pricks. Like I really don't know. Maybe it's just people. You know what it is? Um, in prior decades, like starting around the 80s, that's when people got into this like I will vote for my party no matter what thing, a majority of people. So that's why you don't really see those big, huge landslide elections anymore because they don't really care what's going on, or if they are affected by what's going on, they still find a way to justify it. I mentioned last year that there was a guy on Twitter who had the nerve to write that all homeless people are homeless because of decisions they've made, which is complete and utter BS, and he's just a fool for saying that. And I just typed his name in on Google, and I got a GoFundMe of him begging people for $300 to bury one of his relatives. So, when I see a Trump supporter like that, that's how you know they are negatively impacted by these policies, which again didn't start under Trump, but they've continued. And as long as they can justify in their mind that if I just work a little bit harder, things will become magically better, they're not going to switch over and support someone else that might actually do something for them. People in general are complacent and unaware. They don't pay attention to history or consider the future. They think party allegiance is more important than their needs. Yeah. You should see it. I mean, they had a hashtag about why I'm voting for Biden, and it was so much fluff that had nothing to do with policy. I want 4 new years of humanity, and I can't take 4 more years of Trump, and I want decency back. Like, what the hell? A majority of people out in California who are homeless, most likely from other states. We don't need, yeah, well, I'm not going to go that far, but uh, I mean, hell, if you see the excrement employers video and how many places I applied to and don't hear anything back from other than no thank you, a lot of them are in that position because they try to get work and they can't get it. So that's what happens when you can't get work. You become homeless because you can't pay for anything. Again, I'll put out part 3 this week, and you'll see how insane people are. Oh, it's just another sad story because I don't like to down Americans, talk about how stupid they are, but they're not really giving me anything to work with because I've got one along with a couple of other ones who are not fully understanding what's in this damn bill. Uh, I've got others who voted literally to just girls' politics, what is left. Well, man, I don't know. Um, it's just buffoons. And again, they're not really giving me any leverage to give them the benefit of the doubt because of the things they're doing that we can see and go, is that necessary? Is that true? Like on Twitter, where there actually are people who are trying to shame Sanders supporters for not wanting to vote for Biden. It's like, I don't want to vote for someone who's accused of molestation that can't even remember what state he's in. I'm sorry. I thought you guys were the Me Too party. Told you, I know people like to only pay attention to this stuff when it's the presidential elections, but if you watch a lot of the uh, national activities of some of these Democrats, their main thing between uh, when Trump got elected and now was condemning members of their party for accusations or allegations. Look up Al Franken, look up John Conyers, and they're still sitting over here trying to pretend like they have the high ground when their person they picked is literally being accused right now. Oh, I didn't even read that, Ruben. I'm sorry. Bernie told people that Wisconsin should postpone the primary. Obama's VP said that Wisconsin should continue if, and Wisconsin sided with Obama's VP. Yeah, but I could have sworn it was the governor of Wisconsin who wanted to stop it because he's a union guy, and then the Supreme Court of that state and basically all of the branches are run by Republicans, and they said, "Screw your concerns, go vote." So, just another tale of people trying to kill others, and like I said, all those Republicans should have blood on their hands because if someone dies from catching it when they went to go vote, and you could have postponed it, which is what the governor wanted, So I told you that like people get others killed through these offices and nothing happens to them. They don't get voted out. They don't have people trying to protest. Like it's just nothing. Republicans are against Bernie too, including Orange Man. I know, but I'm saying that it was funny because they were. You remember they planted that story where they said that Republicans were going to vote for Sanders in South Carolina to make him the nominee, and supposedly it was because they were so scared. They were so convinced they could beat him no matter what. It's like even if they thought that, you really think that Biden is going to just like carry the election away when he spends all his time hiding in his house? There was a whole week where Sanders was streaming every day, and Biden was just sitting hiding in his house. And then he does a stream where he screws up and oh my god, man, I'm so embarrassed. I don't know what the hell is wrong with people. Because remember, they always like we can't even. You have no legs to stand on with Biden as the nominee. All the stuff people said about Trump, he's racist, and then Biden opposed desegregated busing, and I mean, like nothing, not a thing. All of the stuff they said about Trump, we can use on Biden. Lesser of two evils. Ruben, you gotta vote for Biden because he's the lesser of two evils. He's not as bad as Trump, even though he does kind of suck. Gotta make sure you don't vote for Biden before it's too late. You have to vote for him. He doesn't have to earn your vote. And it's weird because and I'm not trying to pretend I've been around for some big, huge, long period of time, but I don't remember. Well, again, I'm just going off of what they're saying, Slum Digger. I really don't see much of a difference in them. But my point I'm making is I don't remember up until this last election cycle because look, even though I think Obama was a con artist, he still campaigned. Like he still knew how to campaign and try to make overtures and like I'm sorry, but ever since that election cycle, the 2012 one, all the Democratic nominees now you just you must vote for them. Like go to hell. Because you can't scare me into supporting any of these candidates that I don't like. They tried to do that for what was that? Okay, Sanders got out in June or July. He endorsed Clinton in July. So that was 1, 2, 3. That was 4 months of people trying to convince me. You got to vote for Hillary. You got to vote for Hillary. Man, go to hell. And then you saw it didn't work either. I went right to that ballot box. They had the Democrat, they had Hillary, then they had Trump, then they had Gary Johnson and Jill Stein. And I went right past Trump and Hillary and went to Stein and Johnson. I went any, mini, money, mo. Catch the tiger by the toe. If he's hollering, let him go. Any, mini, money, mo. And then click Johnson. That's how much of a damn I didn't give at that point. He had all those lofty ideas, but I never understood how he planned to fund. Oh my God! Don't start with that, Slum Digger. We spent trillions of dollars in foreign conflicts, and you're going to tell me about how are you going to pay for it, man? It's like people love doing that. They go and pretend like the U.S. is so poor, and then we're having 700 billion annual military budgets. All this money just magically appears. These policies could easily be funded. Look at what they did for the stimulus package. How are you going to pay for it is a myth. Yeah, they just write this stupid crap whenever someone wants to propose something they don't support. Told you most of the Republicans are actually like besides Rand Paul and like Mike Lee, I guess maybe Mike Braun. They just come out and pretend they're about being fiscally conservative or fiscally responsible. You can go look it up, Slum Digger. Every year we've had seven, at least for the last 2 years, 700 billion military budgets back to back. But no one asks, where does that money come from? And you want to tell me we can't have free school when most people don't even have student loan debts over somewhere in the ten thousands? Man, get out of here. It's the same in the US and UK. Left wing social democratic government actually runs smaller deficits than conservatives. Yeah, didn't Obama cut the deficit in half and then Trump has expanded it? Let me see, excuse my ignorance. Does that include the additional billions given to Israel? Uh no, that's a separate thing because they fund the US is so the how to explain this. When they broke it down, it was supposed to be specifically dealing with the US's military personnel across the one. We're only bombing 7 countries, which is by no means a small number. We're actually in over 100 countries. We have troops just all over the place. Uh, so theoretically, that funding, the billions that go to Israel, would probably be separate because it's not for the personnel. Well, I definitely would have liked free college. Um, I really hate a lot of people who oppose that because they try to lump it as just this free thing that millennials wanted. Even though you actually have to go to school and work to get the goddamn grade. They don't just hand you a piece of paper. You have to work for it. So I don't really understand how that's some handout if you have to work for it. But those are the same people who told me I wanted a handout when I said we should have a federal jobs guarantee. Now, that's some nutty stuff. To actually want to work, whether it's for a degree or for money, and to have people tell you that that's free stuff. But Crash Dummy doesn't care. He'll just keep writing that. Mm. But didn't he want to give it to immigrants too? That's bad, right? I mean, like I said, I really couldn't care less if immigrants get it because if I'm gonna be at the center of some program that actually assists me, it's not really of my concern to worry about if some other person gets it. It's just like when they were getting mad at Omar this week for saying that illegal immigrants should get the relief package as well. If these people have the virus and they're in the US, who gives a damn if they're illegal? They're going to give it to Americans too. Like I thought the overarching theme of this disease was that it can come to anybody or be transferred to anybody. Black Brit says no, it isn't bad. If immigrants get health care or college, that's good for you. There's a pandemic. You want them to get sick and then get you sick too. Yeah, that's my point. I don't understand. But you know how nativists are. They don't think past next week. I already told you that like all this stuff about these immigrants are taking my job. You should get mad at the goddamn employers that are hiring them. Like I've never seen people take individuals with no power and make them out to just be these uh job harnessing individuals that just grab it. Man, get out of here. A Crash Dummy didn't. I want you to articulate to me how free college is a handout, even though you have to work to get the grade. I want to read that because that's the only reason I didn't finish. They wanted me to spend what was it, 12 grand? I was like, what the hell? I'd like for that to be articulated. How something that you have to work for, regardless of if it's paid for by the government or not, is free. I'd like someone to explain that to me. Mayor Khan is the Obama of the UK. Is he going to run for prime minister in 10 years and be a neoliberal too? It seems like Tony Blair was the Clinton of the UK, so maybe he's a few decades behind. Khan is boring and useless, and I'm sad he's had no left wing challengers. I'm waiting for him to write this. I want to see what his explanation is. Well, it is free if you don't have to pay for it. That's the point of the word. But you had described free things as a handout, so I want to know how free school is a handout, even though you have to work for the grade, just as you would have if you had paid for it. I'd like to for you to articulate that. Have you heard of Angela Nagel? If yes, then what do you think of her works? I don't. At first, when I read your comment, I thought you had misspelled Merkel. Let me go look. But no, I would say just off the bat, I don't think I've heard of her before. There are plenty of grants and free money that people get. What do we need free college for? Well, maybe so that when they get the goddamn piece of paper, they won't be in debt from using the student loans that people will recommend them to use so they can pay for it. Black Brit says college is the same thing. They live with us, keeping them outside of civil society. Hey, listen, I'm not gonna have that trash written on here. I'm good because we're not gonna pretend like people don't have $1 trillion of student loan debt because everything's already been solved as it relates to education. Uh, no one claimed that they. Okay, so do me a favor, go through all of my content and tell me where I said someone forced them to use student loans. I'm waiting for you to write where you heard me or saw someone in my comment section write that people were forced to use student loans. This is why I said it is a complete waste of time to hear some of these positions because people don't want to concede the validity of any commentary that goes against what they're saying. Okay, that's an anecdote. I'm waiting for you to tell me where I said that people were forced to use student loans. I never said that. I'm waiting. Play the clip or link us to the clip. No one's saying anything about the income tax. I'm waiting to see where I said what was that comment again? People were forced to use student loans. I'm waiting. Oh, so you admit I said they were recommended. Yeah, one of the reasons I got out of it was because I had people who told me to use it. And I said, wait a second. I thought the point of getting the damn piece of paper is so you can have a higher chance of making more money. When I want you to spend tens of thousands of dollars to get the piece of paper that you don't know if you're going to get back or not, it seems like a pyramid scheme. Neither have I. That's why I don't have debt. But just because I don't doesn't mean I don't have empathy for those who accumulated it after being told to use it to get their education. Well, that's my point, Slum Digger. When they wanted me to pay 12 grand, that was 2 years after I was at high school. I said, "How? What kind of Aladdin type of figure do you think I am, where I can just pull that out of my behind for 1 year of schooling?" Yeah, but even with me acknowledging it's a scam, I still wouldn't see that's why people will never get anywhere. You don't have empathy for a group of people who did what society considers the right thing of trying to further their education and got suckered out of large sums of money in doing the right thing according to society. Because to this day, I have people going, "You're gonna always work at McDonald's or some other place because you don't have a degree." Slum Digger says, "You ever saw the movies I Put a Trap on You?" Oh my god. Well, I'm glad Crash Dummy admitted what I've been saying for a while, which is that Americans don't care about things unless they impact them. I am someone who has never been in debt relating to education whatsoever, but I still have empathy for those who do because I recognize it as a scam. Um, and I don't agree in punishing people for doing what has been considered to be the right thing, which is further your education. So we'll leave it at that. But look, I've read enough stupid comments for today. I thank the others who showed up. I appreciate it. And maybe Americans will one day actually give a damn about someone that's affected by something they're not. So thank you for showing up. See you later.